I'm about to destroy 9 lies you believe about women. And I'm doing it because I've watched good men disappear into nothing because of these mistakes. I've been the woman who walked away from men I actually loved because they made these errors. I'm not here to coddle you. I'm here as the woman who's been on the receiving end of every single one of these mistakes. The woman who's felt her attraction die in real time. The woman who's cried over men who could have had everything if they'd just not done these things. By the end of this, you'll understand why she chose him over you. You'll see the invisible line between the men we forget and the men who haunt us forever. You ask permission for every touch and apologize after every kiss. I don't want a man who's scared of my body. When you ask, "Is this okay?" Before every single touch, when you apologize after kissing me passionately, when you treat physical intimacy like you're walking through a minefield, it completely kills my attraction. I want to feel desired, not like I'm doing you a favor by letting you touch me. Your hesitation makes me feel like you don't actually want me, like you're forcing yourself to be physical because you think you should be. I crave a man who can't keep his hands off me, who pulls me close because he needs to, not because he's following some dating manual about physical escalation. When you're constantly checking in and apologizing, it makes me feel like my body is something dangerous instead of something you're hungry for. Error 2, the emotional dumping confession. You share your trauma and deepest fears too early. Vulnerability is attractive when it's earned, not when it's dumped on me like homework I didn't sign up for. When you tell me about your abandonment issues on the second date, about your ex who cheated, about your anxiety and depression, you're not being brave, you're being selfish. You're asking me to become your therapist before I've even decided if I like you as a person. I want to support the man I'm falling for, not become the emotional caretaker for a stranger who thinks trauma bonding equals intimacy. Real vulnerability comes slowly, in moments when I've proven I can handle it, not as a download of every painful thing that's ever happened to you. Error 3, the achievement resume syndrome. You turn conversations into lists of your accomplishments. When you constantly brag about your promotion, your car, your workout routine, your investments, it screams insecurity louder than if you said nothing at all. Confident men don't need to recite their resume on a date. They know their worth without needing me to validate it. Your need to impress me with external achievements tells me you don't think you're interesting enough as a person. I'd rather hear about what makes you laugh, what you're curious about, what keeps you up at night thinking, not your salary or how much you can bench press. Stop trying to sell me your life and start sharing your soul. Error 4, the mind reader expectation. You expect her to guess your needs without communicating them. I'm not psychic, and I'm tired of men who expect me to be. When you get quiet and moody because I didn't text you enough, when you're upset that I didn't realize you wanted more affection, when you sulk because I made plans without checking with you first, you're asking me to manage emotions you won't even name. If you need reassurance, ask for it. If you want more attention, say so. If something bothers you, speak up. I can't fix problems I don't know exist, and I won't play detective in my own relationship trying to figure out what's wrong with you this time. Error 5, the social media stalker syndrome. You monitor her online presence obsessively. Your immediate digital attention feels suffocating, not flattering. When you like every photo within minutes, watch every story instantly, comment on everything I post, it tells me you're sitting there refreshing my profile instead of living your own life. That's not romantic, that's obsessive. I want a man who's too busy building something meaningful to be monitoring my Instagram activity like it's his job. When you're always the first to react to my posts, it doesn't make me feel special. It makes me feel watched. Get a hobby that isn't me. Error 6, the love language overdose. You bombard her with all 5 love languages at once. Love languages work when they're natural expressions of who you are, not when you're following them like a checklist. When you suddenly start buying me gifts every week, touching me constantly, doing chores I didn't ask for, and demanding all my free time, it feels forced and performative. You're not loving me, you're following an instruction manual. I can tell the difference between genuine affection and love language homework. Your sudden transformation into the perfect boyfriend who hits every category feels fake because it is fake. I fell for who you were naturally, not this robot version trying to optimize my happiness. Error 7, the white knight complex. You try to rescue her from every problem. I need a partner, not a parent. When you constantly try to fix my bad moods, solve my work problems, protect me from my own family drama, and rescue me from normal life challenges, you make me feel weak and incapable. I'm a grown woman who handled her life just fine before you showed up. Your need to save me from everything tells me you don't see me as an equal. You see me as a project. I want someone who believes I'm strong enough to handle my own problems and smart enough to ask for help when I actually need it. Stop trying to be my hero and start being my teammate. Error 8, the energy vampire syndrome. You drain her emotionally instead of energizing her. Dating you started feeling like a second job. You need constant reassurance that I still like you, endless validation that you're good enough, continuous emotional support for every minor setback in your life. I found myself exhausted after spending time with you instead of energized and happy. When I started looking forward to going home alone more than being with you, I knew something was wrong. Relationships should add joy to my life, not drain it. I want to be with someone who brings their own emotional stability to the table, not someone who turns me into their unpaid therapist. Comment, energy vampire, if you've ever felt like you were draining someone just by needing them too much. Because the final error is the one that makes us lose respect for you permanently. Error 9, the backbone dissolve. You stopped having opinions, preferences, or boundaries the moment you wanted to keep us. You became agreeable to everything, flexible about everything, accommodating to everything. You thought having no spine made you easy to love. A man with no backbone is not attractive. He's pitiful. When you agree with everything I say, go along with everything I want, and never push back on anything, you disappear as a person. I can't respect someone who doesn't respect themselves enough to have standards, and I can't love someone I don't respect. Here's the truth that will sting. These 9 errors all have one thing in common. They come from the same poisonous belief that you're not enough as you are. That the real you, the one with flaws, opinions, boundaries, and a life outside of her, isn't lovable enough. So you created a fake version, the historian who shares everything, the achiever who brags constantly, the mind reader who expects magic, the digital stalker who has no life, the love language robot who follows instructions, the white knight who saves everyone, the energy vampire who needs constant feeding, the spineless yes man who agrees with everything. And that fake version? That's what drove us away. The most painful part isn't that you lost us. It's that you lost yourself trying to keep us. You traded your authenticity for approval, your mystery for familiarity, your strength for safety. Every woman has been with a man who committed these errors. And we all remember the exact moment we realized we weren't dating a person anymore. We were dating a performance. That's when our attraction didn't just fade, it died. Because here's what you never understood. We didn't fall for your potential. We didn't fall for who you could become. We fell for who you were before you decided that wasn't good enough. The man who tells stories naturally, not compulsively. The man who achieves things for himself, not for applause. The man who communicates his needs instead of expecting telepathy. The man who has his own digital life instead of living in ours. The man who loves instinctively, not systematically. The man who supports without suffocating. The man who energizes instead of drains. The man who stands for something instead of falling for everything. That man was enough. That man was attractive. That man was lovable. The question is, do you remember who he was? If you recognize the man you used to be before you started making these errors, comment, I remember him. If you're ready to stop performing and start being real again, comment, bring him back. And if you want to learn how to be loved for who you actually are, instead of rejected for who you're pretending to be, subscribe. Because somewhere underneath all these mistakes, the real you is still there. The man she fell for is still alive. He's just been buried under 9 layers of trying too hard. It's time to dig him up. It's time to let him breathe again. It's time to remember that he was always enough.